first 12 months, we went from 600 to 70,000 subscribers. And so things were going smoothly until one day I had a chat with Grant Cardone about branding. And it reminded me that all the lessons that I'd learned in business applied to all this organic stuff. I was on this call with him. He was like, bro, pull up your Instagram. And I was like, okay. He's like, pull up my Instagram. He's like, I got 10 times the content as you. 10 times. He's like, bro, it's volume, bro. Volume. I was like, that's deep. And so I was like, I should probably do more. So many times we're doing the right stuff. We're just doing way too little of it.
You gotta just press record.
Alex Hormozi was broke at 26 years old and is now growing a portfolio of companies worth more than $100 million. Alex came to speak at our live conference, and last year on YouTube, he was only getting a couple hundred of subscribers per month on his channel. And this year he is getting thousands and even tens of thousands of subscribers every single month on his YouTube channel. And he's gonna share his entire content creation framework with you guys. And if you wanna hear the full talk, make sure you check the link in the description and listen to that on our podcast. Without further ado, here is Alex Hormozi.
So 18 months ago, I started a YouTube channel. Some of you guys may have, anybody seen this, the YouTube channel? Mosey Nation. Woo. And so I built 2 expensive studios to launch this thing. I started making 3 videos a week. Side note, important lesson that I learned on a vacation. That really one did better than my really fancy one, which then taught me that what's inside the content matters more than the wrapper. So for anybody who's like worried about getting started, about making it look right, I don't think it matters. I mean, I think it matters a little bit, but it's 80-20, so focus on the 80. All right, and so I continued my very steady growth for that period of time, which is great. Recommend. But in the first 12 months, we went from 600 to 70,000 subscribers, which was cool. And so things were going smoothly until one day I had a chat with Grant Cardone about branding. And it reminded me that all the lessons that I'd learned in business applied to all this organic stuff. And so I was on this call with him, and I have the full video on my YouTube channel if you want to check it out. Yeah. He was like, bro, I'm not even going to try. He was like, bro, pull up your Instagram. And I was like, okay. He's like, pull up my Instagram. He's like, I got 10 times the content as you. 10 times. He's like, bro, it's volume, bro. Volume. And I was like, that's deep. And so I was like, I should probably do more, which is a lesson that I have learned over and over and over again in business, and I'll tell you a couple more stories about it later. But like, so many times we're doing the right stuff. We're just doing way too little of it. And so this is the content creation model, all right? That's the big visual, and those are the bold bullets. Fantastic. Let's start with the first one. So test, record, inject, contextualize, distribute. So the old way that I used to do content was I would just have this ongoing email thread to myself. I don't know you guys have like notes or like a chain to yourself, because you probably get ideas, you're in a conversation, oh, I should make a piece of content on that, right? And then you email it to yourself, and that's how I did it for a long time. And the new way is the Twitter way, which is being blocked by the thing because it formatted weird. But I post all of those ideas as tweets on Twitter rather than just sending them to myself. And so all of a sudden, what used to be my inbox is actually just my tweet thread. All right? And so I tweet about 5 times a day-ish. And the nice thing is that Twitter is a very forgiving platform. So it's just like stream of consciousness, and it takes notes. You don't have to pick videos or captions. I like it because it's just thoughts. I love Twitter so much for that reason. And so I'll post this stuff, and I'll be like, okay, those are the ones that people thought were interesting. And then the threads become long format, and the shorts become short format, or the tweets become short format. Pretty simple. Step 1. Everyone following with me so long? Yeah! My man. And we feel like they could do that? All right, doable. Yes. Second step is recording, right? Why am I doing both? I realized this because you're like, why do you do short stuff? I was kind of against shorts, and then I realized that I've never actually consumed anything from Gary Vee that's long. But I like Gary Vee a lot. And I was like, oh, well, I guess that worked. So that's why I do both. Right? And so I think it's a width and depth thing. I think the shorts give you a lot of breadth. I think the longs give you a lot of depth, right? And so there's a visual that I put together that took me too long to say that same thing. Great. So this is everything that I know about how to make content that, quote, goes viral. I watched a long interview with Mr. Beast. My big practice of trying to learn stuff is go to the person who's the best at it and listen to them because they've already reorganized the information for you. hack. And so he's like, listen, all these guys make this all compliment with their tags and the hashtags, and if any of you guys sell that, this is not me offending you. I have no idea what I'm talking about. Remember, big grain of salt. But he said, it's just CTR times watch time. That's it. You got to get people to click, and you got to get people to watch. I was like, okay, that makes sense. He's like, and that's what YouTube wants. They want people to be interested in the content to get the click, and then make sure that the content fulfills the promise of the thumbnail. Cool. I was like, I can do that. And so this is the general format that I've used for the longs, which is like a hook or a question that I'm answering, usually a story that's relevant to answer the question, a framework that I've applied to repeat that process, and then an explanation of why I think it works. And that's it. And if I want to make longer stuff, it's just that process with multiple stories, repeating that over and over again. The shorts is a hook or a question, a hammer, which for me is my tweet. I put the tweet as the next thing I say because I already know it converts. And then I have an example and an explanation. That's about it. That's Alex's $1 million thing. There we go. Fantastic. And so this is an example. So it's like 28 ways to guarantee poverty, or 28 ways to stay poor, right? So I made this thread, got a lot of shares, cool. 28 rules, reprogram your mind to be rich in 22 minutes. So I have to change the headline and stuff, but the content was identical. I just did it in a video, right? And then the short ones that do well, it's like, all right, overheard from a Navy SEAL, blah, blah, blah. Authenticity is just a fancy word. Boom, I just make a short version of the same thing, just saying the tweet. Does this make sense? Yeah. Okay, cool. And then I upload it. Fancy so far? All right, ta-da. Next one is inject. So we grew the podcast actually recently from like 20,000 a month to 400,000 a month. And a big part of that was just having call to actions. Sounds really dumb, but I wasn't doing it. So do it. And so the way that we did it was we recorded 2 versions of each of the call to actions. So like call to actions to other channels, lead medics, share or tag. If you have a lower ticket product, I don't, but like, or if, for me, I guess I have a book, it's 99 cents. Leave a review if you want to ask for clients or, send a question, or there's my book there, Grand Slam offer. So I would just record 2 different CTAs for that, and then I just inject them into the content. So this is what it might look like. So it's like, you have your CTA 1, content, mid-roll, content, end off. Does that make sense? So we started doing that with the podcast, and it started to grow a lot. And now we're actually doing it in the rest of the forms of content. So you'll see that from me because this has been working. So this is me doing this, walking the talk. All right, the point directions, etc. Okay, contextualize. So anyone seen this one before? Everyone see this like meme that went viral? So it's like everybody kind of appears somewhat differently, even though it's the same person, depending on the setting that you're in. Right? On Facebook, you look a certain way. LinkedIn, you look a certain way. Tinder, you look a certain way. I had a sales guy who was on, this is not relevant at all, was on Tinder, and he would close every one of his dates on buying our supplements. So that he could get, he was like, it always covered dinner. Savage. Anyways, just, shooters got to shoot. Okay, so you have to make this stuff contextual, and so this is what we do. So this is the same video. Right, it's that same Navy SEAL video I made earlier, right? So that's a reel, that's a TikTok, and then that's the YouTube short. So it's the same thing, you just make it match the platform. Same way you would make your Facebook look different than your Instagram look different than your LinkedIn, et cetera. As long as you just make it contextual, I think it does a lot better. Because have you guys seen people just like take literally the exact same thing and post it on the wrong platform? I just think it just hurts it, and it's just not that much effort to make it contextual. All right, last one, distribute. Then we distribute them. All right, so we went from 7 times a week to 80 times a week in distribution. That was the result over that 6-month period, which was a lot of growth, awesome. And so we 10x the inputs, and we got 10x the outputs. Surprising, right? So who here would like 10 times the output? Well, then you can just 10x the input. All right. Good talk. So, quick recap. All right. Content creation model, test. First thing you do, make your brain dump into something that's actually generating content. So this is net 0 time for me. I was doing it, and I just started doing it publicly. Number 2 is that once I have the stuff that's winning, I record it. I record the threads as longs. I record the tweets as shorts. From there, the team injects the call to action so that I can direct the traffic whatever way I want to direct it, right? 4, and big one on this last injection thing, like if you don't do this, because I wasn't, you get all of these impressions and like eyeballs and stuff, and you'll get followers, but like you don't drive a result. Which again sounds silly that I wasn't doing this, but I told you at the beginning, you guys are better than I am at this. Number 4 was contextualize it. I just think it works a lot better. And then finally, you cut it and increase the volume.
If you want to hear more from Alex Hormozi, make sure you click on the screen and listen to our podcast, and also hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. I'll see you guys in the next one.